They studying the source now. Supreme Elite. New Empire talk. Came on reading numbers, they were reading memes. He was reading filings, planning out the dream. Turn every late fee in the case law heat. Judge bang gavel, he don't skip a beat. They like how you flip stress into assets. How you turn the loss in the last check. Thomas took notes, broke codes, then he proved it. Now the classroom global and the language fluid. Thomas is the blueprint. Write that in the sky, let the crew print. From the courtroom smoke to the new man. He designed the way we move our 2 cents. Thomas is the blueprint. Supreme Elite team, that's the school stamp. From the first lay build to the full camp. New culture empire, watch the flag plan. Supreme Elite Team University. Turn the credit score into currency. Turn the closed door to a first key. Turn the side job to a legacy. He beat odds, then he beat litigation. Now we teach law like a new translation. From confusion into consultation. From survival into foundation. They log in, lights on in their eyes now. Section this, call that. They reply now. He like, know your rights, then apply now. God, that's the real drip. Let it dry now. Thomas is the blueprint. Write that in the sky, let the crew print. From the courtroom smoke to the new man. He designed the way we move our 2 cents. Thomas is the blueprint. Supreme Elite team, that's the school stamp. Wave it from the first lay build to the full camp. New culture empire, watch the flag plan. From the bench to the block, he reversed that. Put the power in the pen, yeah, he birthed that. Every mind that he.
You're rocking with the best.
A finance company only got to pay when they get those warehouse lines of credit. They only got to pay this much back in interest. But do you know what they do? You know what they do? They say the hapless consumer, you're going to pay about 25-30% interest. You're going to pay about 26-27% interest. So they benefit from the difference. Now, check this out. That's how they make millions of dollars a month. This is, and you want to know why I know it happens? This is why you could be paying on your mortgage and your auto for 2 years straight, and your goddamn balance dips like a smidget. You don't even get to your principal in the mortgage until about year 10. That first 10 years, you paying back all the fees and the costs and the administrative fees that goes on with the securitizing. APR 22.5. Want to know why? They pay the investors back and they make a profit on the side. So the amounts that you have to pay back, they jack that up and they jack up the purchase price, because at this point, the dealer only gave them about $7,000-8,000 for that truck. But the sticker price say $20,500. And then with the APR, you got to pay $42,000 back. But when we bust down the books like we do in SETU, what you really got to pay back, which they say on their books you got to pay back, it's going to be about $12,000-13,000. So imagine this. Let's do $12,500. Economically, what you owe back, but you got to pay $42,000 on that goddamn contract. Are they updating that contract to reflect the economic reality? Nope. If they have to repossess you, take you to court, you think they're going to come in with the books from the economic standpoint? Nope, they're going to come with the contract. Everything I'm saying, I've already done. Not to mention, that's another rarity here. You rarely find someone that's talking about something that they've already done. And it's measurable. You can look on my page and see it. You see the title. All you got to do is look for the post where you see a title, a certificate of title. And I don't get into semantics. Well, a certificate of title is not really a title. Guess what? It allows me to sell the vehicle. I can't sell the vehicle without that certificate of title. Oh, what you need is the MCO, manufacturer certificate of origin. What the f***? That certificate of title will allow me to sell the vehicle. Banks don't operate like that in mass, especially if it comes with consumer lending, because they got securitization. If you don't understand the true nature of securitization, actually, I know you don't understand securitization if you say things like this. This is how I know you don't understand securitization. Our signature created the credit. Oh, we
You're
loaned
rocking
them
with
something.
the best.
Oh, I'm the creditor. I'm the lender. They're really the borrower. Oh, just because an asset was transferred into securitization, I don't owe the debt anymore. See,
You're rocking
that's
with
what you
the
constantly hear
best.
every day, every day, every day. And I'm here to tell you that all of you who think like that are wrong. All of you are wrong. Hell, Tila is a sham.
You're rocking with the
Tila's a
best.
sham. You know what it basically says? You got to disclose this. They never said what's being disclosed has to actually reflect what's going on. So, Tila was a statute enacted in which the companies and the mortgage people can just lie. This is why in SETU, the regulatory lens is so important, because it tells all of you, they look down, all of you, if it didn't do it like this, you're supposed to do it like this. You're supposed to account for it like this. You're supposed to report it as this. So now with SETU, we get not only how they account for things with the classic examples, we get how they're supposed to account for. So now that we know that there's a difference between how they account for these items and how they're supposed to account for these items, now we get to figuring out why they don't account for these items the correct way. And once we figure out, like we've been doing, why they don't do it, now we understand where their exposure lies.
They told you.
It's a fair value overview. This is what the corporate professionals want to keep in-house only. These measurements in this section is not anything that you are going to find outside of that world, to be honest with you, because all these depict on how they account for these things internally. There's a difference between how they account for these things internally and what they present or submit to the SEC. They submit these things to the SEC. They're pretty much unaudited. And the way you kind of get the leg up on them is you kind of got to read what they and what we study, what they submit to the SEC, and continue to go over prior years to see the consistency. Because if they consistently do something a certain way, then there's a chance that they're doing it the same way with you. And this is why, like in my lawsuit, I said I went through 5 years of their balance sheets and they've been consistent. So it's either my contract was the only one out of hundreds of thousands that they decided not to, or is mine part of the same thing? You know what I'm saying? So that's how you find this is why you go back, not just 2025, 24, 23, 22, 21. Essential question. Every financial instrument has two simultaneous realities. Now, the question is, what are those realities? And they're going on at the same time. One singular contract. And we're going to compartmentalize this just to the consumer and corporate side, and not so much of the court SEC and investor side yet. So in this moment, you got two transactions going on at the same time. You got the consumer side, which presented to us. Then we got the corporate side, how they're really looking at this. And that is the contractual balance, the legally enforceable scheduled amount, and then you have the economic value, the market-based measurement of expected cash flow. That's why receivables are so powerful in this world. It's the receivables. Now, they are not the same. They serve different purposes, but by God, they are both real. Understanding that difference is the foundation of financial literacy at a professional level. Courts enforce contracts based on legal terms. Accountants measure contracts based on economic substance. And regulators supervise institutions based on risk values. Investors price instruments based on expected performance, and markets never price at fair face value without risk adjustment. That's the allowance for credit laws. That's the deteriorations. That's what that is. So they're going to book them at the fair value with the allowance for credit laws, so the back end. Value leads to confusion in securitization analysis, which y'all see all day, every day. Impairment modeling, that very few people really understands with accounting standpoint. Credit loss recognition, fair value disclosure, litigation strategy, and settlement valuation. And this week is going to build that foundation. And when I mean this week, that means this week going into the next week. Now, one of the core concepts of this is the contractual balance reflects the amounts financed, the finance charge, total of payments, payment schedules, legal remedies upon default. That's totally on the consumer side, and that is very real. I don't want you to think that that's not what they can do. They very well can do that, and then many times it's going to be upheld in court. Now, from the credit acceptance contract example, you have the amounts financed at $22,728. You have the finance charge of $18,386.90. You got the total payments of $41,115.36 and a total sales price of $43,815.36. But you will notice, and I'll explain to y'all during next week, is when credit acceptance actually removed my balance, you notice they never removed the $43,815.36. They actually only removed $19,000, the principal balance remaining. So where would the extra, 25, 26, 27,000 go? Where did that go? Because when they removed the balance, when they showed the waived, it was only the 19,000. That was the principal left. But we have 43,000 here. Because the 43, that extra 25 to 27,000 was just all extra. That's all it was to them. So there was nothing for them to actually remove because they never got it yet. Y'all get what I'm saying? But it shows up on the contract. So this allows them to enforce this amount. But behind the scenes, that amount right there is all extra. It's not actually accounted for as part of the obligation. They measure the total economic value based on that amount. But that's not the amount that they actually saying you're going to get this. And this is why they have pools. Because everybody's going to help each other cover each other's debt based on those securities that they're issuing. Yeah, you're starting to understand why the whole 43,000 wasn't removed, but only the principal remaining balance of 19 was removed. This is how accounting works. Now, this represents the legal structure of the obligation, and it is enforceable, but it's not necessarily the economic value of the receivable on a financial statement. And this is why it showed only 19,000 removed instead of the 43,000. Now, that measures the discounted value of expected future cash flows. The key elements: the time value of money, credit risk, expected default probability, recovery assumptions, discount rate. If I were buying this receivable today, what would I pay for? That answer is almost never the total contractual payments. And I'm going to keep saying it so you won't have the perception that they're trading these based on the $43,815. I mean, some of you all investors, some of y'all invested, crypto's kind of the same thing. Why would I pay 43,000 just to get 43,000? You get what I'm saying? It's always going to be discount because it makes no economic sense. No rookie investor, and this is why when it hits the secondary market, all these things are discounted. Now, value is defined that the price that would be received to sell an asset or paid to transfer a liability in an orderly transaction between market participants. This is an exit price concept. It is market based and it is risk adjustment. It is not the face value of the contract. Now, the application across systems. In the consumer context, the borrower sees your total of payments, your monthly obligation, and the contract interest rate. The lender's accounting department sees net receivable, allowance for credit loss, present value measurement, and the yield. How much are we making after we pay interest on these? Now, one contract, I'm going to highlight it again. One contract looked at from two different angles. This is the consumer and the corporate finance view of this contract.
You're rocking with the best.
No, I couldn't let them get me caught in front of the house inside Mercedes Benz GLE, but something wasn't right. I had to do it right. Yeah. Sent the email with the proof, then I filed a suit. Yeah, judge saw the evidence, then they called the truth. Sleep just like that, gone. They settled quick, title on the way, and the debt was wiped away, and I ain't even had to. Came on reading numbers, they were reading memes. He was reading filings, planning out the dream. Turn every late fee into case law heat. Judge bang gavel, he don't skip a beat. They like how you flip stress into assets, how you turn a loss in the last check. Thomas took notes, broke codes, then he proved it. Now the classroom global and the language fluid. Thomas is the blueprint. Write that in the sky, let the crew print. From the courtroom smoke to the new man. He designed the way we move our 2 cents. Thomas is the blueprint. Supreme League team, that's the school stamp. From the first lay bill to the full camp. New culture empire.
We hope you enjoyed the sneak peek of SETU. If you haven't already enrolled, you still can't take advantage of the Mother's Day special. By paying only $14.94 from now through May 8th, SETU not only exposes the 5 lens of the contract, you will understand that the contractual balance is never what they say you owe, but they will never update the contract totals to reflect the actual balance shown on their books. That will never happen. Join SETU so you can argue what they think you'll never figure out, and what they can't deny when you do. Serious students only. You won't find this level of teaching anywhere outside a professional setting. If interested, send an email to thomaslegacy603@gmail.com. Stay connected for the latest videos, live streams, and content uploaded. Now coming to the stage, your host, the blueprint, the scalpel, the one who made a multi-billion-dollar company tap out, your teacher's teacher, Thomas Legacy.
You're rocking with the best. You're rocking with the best. You're rocking with the best. You're rocking with the best.
Yeah. What is the word? What is the move? What is the groove? How do you feel on this? I ain't got a watch on. Thursday afternoon. We are back in the building with another one. Now, I understand that things may be a little shaky, a little tight out there. I understand how life goes. I understand the frustration when you entered into a contract that you didn't fully understand the terms. You entered into a contract that you didn't know they were speaking double talk language with you. So basically what they were putting on the contract, it was saying one thing, but it really means something else. But the contract has nothing to do with how they account for things. I understand the frustration when you look at your TILA disclosures and it shows that the total amount of payments that you got to make, which is your principal balance plus the finance charge. I understand how these 30-year mortgages or these 5 to 7 year contracts has you paying 5, 6, 7 times more than what the property is actually valued at. I understand how you can go to this group, from this group, oh, I need to get this template, get this document. Oh, apply this. Hell, people has gone to the great lengths to get out of debt for even changing their name, changing their status, declaring the Social Security account dead, declaring they're not a U.S. citizen, so they're not under the laws, or gone to even the most extreme measures, by even tendering an instrument for money that they know they don't have. Like, I understand the desperation. I understand how it gets to that level when you're trying to get out the clutches of these finance companies and these mortgage companies, and it feels like they just keep. I understand that feeling when you feel like you have no hope. You giving your hard-earned money to this, you giving your hard money to that, and nothing pans out. And I also understand the ones who were successful. I understand that feeling. I understand how you get a dismissal without prejudice on your $7,000 credit card. I understand how in a debt buyer case, they didn't have all the documents needed to actually prove that they're entitled to force the debt. Hell, I understand how they may be violating your rights in the course of collecting a debt. I understand how, oh shoot, that can now become the play. That can now become the money play. I get a credit card. I don't pay. I wait for them to sue me. I get sued. I already understand the little ins and outs. And I hit them with the FDCPA claims. Hey, if I tell them to take me off the list and they keep robocalling me, hey, I'm going to log all the times they call me. Now I can get a quick $1,000, $2,500 on top of not having to pay in the debt. I understand how that now becomes the average person's claim to financial freedom. I understand. And guess what? Shout out to you. Really, shout out to you. But you know what I also understand? You know what I also understand? I also understand how the flip side of it, when people are dealing with the original creditor, they lose. When it comes to a mortgage and autos, those are the big transactions. The FDCPA really doesn't apply. I notice how people will stay away from things that they don't understand. I've also understand and noticed how people has lost their homes, their vehicles, their assets, their properties in a more rapid fashion than what the little FDCPA Debt Buyer Wednesday show online. I do know that. I've noticed how people have spent $5, $6, $7, $10,000 on a mortgage defense, and the teacher gives them the same document they gave to the last 10 people that didn't win. I do understand that. See, I understand that as well. I do understand that very few people actually understand the corporate financing system on how it operates in its totality. I do understand that securitization is nothing but a cliche buzzword today. I do understand that everybody that jumps out there and talks about securitization has no clue on how the corporate finance world views securitization. I do understand that many people think your loan was sold. Many people think it. And I do understand that many people don't like my tone. They don't like how I come off. Some say I may come off as arrogant. Some say I come off as not humble, whatever that means. But you know, one thing that I also understand, I do understand that I got the job done. I do understand that I got the job done. And I think the fact that I actually got the job done, that wasn't in a manner that's consistently taught online, has rubbed many people the wrong way. I believe that my success throws through this space off. Want to know why? You never heard about the 5 lens of the contract until I brought it up. You didn't hear, no, be plaintiff in the current and current at the same time. Don't always go to them in default. That put a dent in a lot of people's. I do know that my own reality makes people question whether what they've been doing for years has been effective. And I also know that many people are looking at me trying to compete with me. And this is not about me. There's no need to compete with me. You need to be competing with yourself from yesterday. That's who you need to be competing with. You need to be competing with for who you was yesterday. You need to be better today than who you were yesterday. You don't need to be competing with me. I get so sick of people sending me DMs of their FDCPA settlements. I mean, congratulations. Like, what do you want me to say? That you're on my level? That me and you are the same? Do you want me to acknowledge that your win and my win are the same? I mean, is that what you want me to do? I mean, if I'm going to do that, then I need something measurable that I'm looking at that can obtain that. Because all I see in your wins, this is what I see. I see that you got into a contract, and the majority of them are credit card contracts, agreements. You swipe the card. I don't see you had a problem at the time that you were swiping the card. I don't see you bringing a claim at the time than when you got the car. I don't see that you sent the car back because these interest rates is outrageous or these terms and conditions. I don't see that. What I do see is you swiping the card. What I do see is now that you swipe a card, you got to pay principal and interest back. That's what I do see. What I also see is you said you wasn't going to pay for whatever reason after you've already benefited for the use of their credit. See, I see that you was able to swipe their credit, but when it comes down to paying back, now there's an issue with the contract. I get that. See, that's what I do see. And what I do see is your FDCPA claim wins. I do see it's reinforcing that you can get goods and services in this world and you don't have to pay them back. I do see people going down to the DMV pulling title fraud, or it's called washing the title, confusing, manipulating the agents there to issue a title after you've only made the initial down payment, never made a payment ever again. See, I do see the connection that although people think that they are doing a process, asserting their rights, I do see people with the mindset that their whole intent on doing things is to hoodwink and get over on the system and beat the system by doing things in mass that are not legally recognized if you was to bring exactly what you were doing at the DMV into a courtroom setting. That's what I do see. I do see scams and fraudulent activity masked as my rights. That's what I do see. And just because we want to tell ourselves these are not frauds and scams, it's my right, they don't have no right to collect. It doesn't take away from the fact that many people, what they call a process is nothing more than a fraud, financial fraud and scams. But what you don't see, this is what you don't see. You don't see people popping up with titles from the finance companies sending it back to them in the course of a settlement from a legal and recognized claim, stepping into the same courtroom that many people online say, what I talk about on here, you're not going to be able to go to court with it. See, I see that too. And then I start to ask myself, why is it that every time I talk about court or winning in court, you got people like Talafera calling me a coon because I went into court? You got the other lady saying, Effie Lade, hey, if you go into court, don't go into court. That's what they want you to do. That's their system. Don't go into court. So I find it, why is going into court so much of a bad thing when millions of companies and millions of corporations go into court every day to settle disputes? They settle disputes every day by going into court. But now we're not supposed to go into court because the court is their system. Why don't I go into court if I feel like going into court is the most effective way for me? But you want to know one thing that I notice about me going into court versus everybody who says stay away from court? See, I don't have to look over my shoulder with my assets. They got a double garage with theirs. They're hiding their vehicles now. Don't let them fool you. They are hiding their vehicles right now. Don't let them fool you. All these trust and title process, they're hiding their vehicles right now. They're hiding their vehicles. I don't have to hide mine. Supreme Elite Team University, you don't have to hide your vehicles. They're hiding their vehicles. Want to know why? Because I don't care if you would obtained a title from the DMV. The real question is, did you satisfy the underlying debt? Many people think that just because you got the title that the debt is wiped away. Oh, I put my title into a trust. Hey, did you satisfy that underlying debt? Nope. Then the title could be challenged. As a matter of fact, I got plenty of court cases that I'll be introducing next week of borrowers who take these online advice with the title and the trust, and the finance company came back, sued them for the title. The judge asked a simple question: hey, did you pay this? Did you satisfy this? And in one case, a person said, yeah, I sent them a negotiable instrument. They never sent it back. And the lawyer stepped up and said it was fraudulent. That's why we never responded. So the judge awarded them title. And then just like that, they repossessed the vehicle. See, that's what you're going to run into with these trusts. Put your titles into a trust, people. That's what you're going to run into. See, the biggest problem that people have with me, it's not because I don't back up what I'm saying. It's not because my own results don't, nobody's challenging that. The problem is for a lot of people is it's not so much of my results. It's the fact that my results are not what they understand. My results, they're trying to make it seem like what I'm saying is if you don't do it my way, you're going to lose. That's what they're trying to make it seem like. If you don't do it my way, you're going to lose. And the issue that compounds to it is they know that whatever process that they're doing, whatever they're trying, whatever they're attempting to do, they know that they haven't yet got their things legally recognized by the court. And while myself, my claims were legally recognized. That is the biggest problem for a lot of people, that my stuff was recognized by the court and theirs wasn't. See, my claims wasn't thrown out or dismissed by the court. Not even the lawsuit and the motion for temporary restraining order. The judge actually made them respond. Do you know how many people in these spaces filed motions for temporary restraining orders and the judge just dismissed it from the jump? You have plenty of people that started trying to copy my work on this app. Copy. From random people to the gurus. So when I say I am your teacher's teacher, see, the gurus, they'll never come out and publicly and give me my props, which I don't need them to. I get my props from actual professionals who your gurus would never, ever be in a room with them. But when I see their actions and how much they really value what I put out there, it's just more confirmation that
you're rocking with the best.
It's more confirmation. Now, we're going to get into a conversation I want to have with y'all today. I want to have a conversation with y'all. I want to have a conversation. Let me ask everyone a question. What do you think Well, how do you think the finance company is viewing your contract? Remember, we got the TILA disclosure. How do you think the finance company is viewing your contract? Do you think your finance company is looking at your contract based on the total amounts of payments, based on your monthly payments, the finance charge? Do you think the finance company, their mindset, they're looking at your contract totally based on your monthly payments and all the payments that you got to make on the contract? Do you think they're looking at it that way? Now, the answer for many people is they don't know how the finance company is looking at their contract because they've been on the consumer side. So their assumption could be is, I believe the finance company is looking at it from the consumer side because that's the lens that what I see it through. It will be, it's not helpful to ask someone to look at a contract in a realm that they don't even know exists. So I'm gonna bring it back down a little bit. So when you look at your total of payments on your TILA disclosure box on your contract, many people see that is something I have to defend against. That is something I have to challenge. That is the focal point of why I'm doing the processes that I'm doing. Many people see that. Many people want to ask for the wet ink signature. People want to say produce the note. And one of a more legit question is, show me that you have the right to enforce. But I want to pose a question to you that is clearly answered in SETU. I want to pose a question. What if the numbers that you see on your contract look very different from the same numbers that they book on their books as part of your obligation? What if the numbers are drastically smaller on the books than what's represented on the contract? What if those numbers of what you actually owe is this, but your contract says this? But let's just say that you send in a negotiable instrument for that contract amount. Look what you're doing then. Do you think, because I'm just saying, I know the average person is not going to write a $25,000 check to set off their obligation unless they got about 100-something thousand, 200, 300,000 in the bank. The average person is not going to write 25,000 on a check at one time. So when I see those checks, I know that they're writing a check on air. It's from some estate or some theory. It's a theory check. It's not a check that they know, because when you got 25,000 in your account sitting right now, you know damn well you're going to be very little more conservative. Well, I ain't going to pay the whole 25. I might give them about, how much my monthly payment is, 400. Shit, I might give them 1,000. Pay up. I might give them 1,000 or two. Put some of this on the principal. I ain't use my whole 25 on this auto. Tell me I'm lying. Tell me I'm lying. Tell me I'm lying. Every day real life, you know that's something you really think. So when I see a $25,000 check, like Kenyatta Stones, I know she's writing that on no account that she has direct access to. I call that a theory check. See, I'm speaking in reality, real life. I'm speaking in real life reality right now. See, we can't merge our beliefs and theories and try to bring that as our new reality. You got to deal with reality of what it is. Ask yourself a question. What if the total amounts that's shown on your contract does not reflect the total amounts that they even say you owe? That they even say you owe. And I say that to let people know that you're making your arguments so much harder. You're making your path so much harder if you don't understand how these corporate finance companies actually view the contract. So when I look at my case, right, every argument in my case, they can never deny. Every argument in my case, they can never come out and say I was wrong, or it's a misinterpretation, or misguided. So not only, and this is one of the beautiful things about SETU, the arguments that are raised from SETU, none of them can deny it. It's not true. None of them can deny it. They're all going to run from the hills, or they're going to end up settling with you. That's been the common theme. Myself and group members who's taken my understanding and applied it in their situation, that's been the common theme. It's been settlements 2026 in my group. It's been settlements. Now you only see mine. You only see mine. In the Supreme Elite Team group, you see the back end, you see the conversation, you see the back end stuff. But why would I be arguing something that is not even reflective of economic reality? That's basically saying I got a contract here and I'm doing produce the note on this contract, or show me you can enforce on this contract, or do whatever y'all talk about online on the contract. But the contract is not even reflective of what's really going on from an accounting standpoint. So that led me to my determination that TILA is a sham. TILA only says they got to disclose. TILA disclosures. So why did the government let them get away with putting numbers on a contract that is not reflective of the numbers that they put on the books? Why would TILA allow them, or the government would allow them to get away with that? Everybody in the corporate professional world knows that your finance charge is nothing but made up money. That's why when you seen when I showed y'all my principal minus 19,000, where was the extra 30? It's supposed to be like 30-something thousand there. I only gave him 10,077. So subtract 40, take 41,115.96, $41,115.96, and subtract that from 10,077. That number that you're going to get, right? When it showed that when they wiped it off, waived it off on the account, why didn't it only show up the 19,000? The remaining principal balance. Why wasn't that and the finance charge waived? Want to know why? Because your finance charge is nothing but hot air. It's not even income that they fully earn yet. Why do you think that only the principal balance was waived, not the extra? Because not the finance charge, because your finance charge is nothing but extra money to them. Has nothing to do with your transaction. The way they calculate your finance charge, 98% has nothing to do with the repayment for the use of money. None of it. None of it. These are things that I prove time and time and time again from an economic and an accounting standpoint. And then we get to their investor disclosures, how they're violating that. Or they violate it every day. There's nothing about a consumer transaction where there's not 1,000,001 violations. The problem with the violations is the violations that people bring up are not the violations that are going to lead to not only a debt-free and clear, but the assets to their vehicles or their homes. It's not going to amount to it. In a simple like even in a mortgage case. So let's say you got you get a $400,000 mortgage. You got to pay $725,000 back. And you got to pay $2,370 for 30 years. $2,370 for 30 years, $400,000 got to pay got to pay $725 back. Your first 10 years of mortgage payments is going all to fees and interest. It's not even going, various snitches going to the principal. It's the same concept with an auto. For anybody that's made a payment for a year or year or two, you ever notice that your principal balance always dips a smidget? Y'all always notice that it's only a smidget that it dips. That's not by design. And then once you reach a certain threshold of making your payments, and then the value, the economy, the market goes up. See, the value of your home goes up based on the market. A lot of people think that's the mortgage market. It's really the secondary market that raises the value. What's the value? What's the time of value? The demand, not enough supply. So when the value goes up, when the demand goes up, but it's not enough supplies coming in, then whatever that is the supply right there, the value is going to go up. This is why they get you to refi. But when they're refinancing, see, everything I'm saying, I might as well be the IT specialist that works that does the process, the payments to the investors for Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac. I might as well be him right now, because I'm not telling you nothing that has nothing that what our conversation wasn't about. I might as well be him right now. So when they ask you to refi, when you look at it from an economic standpoint, this is how I look at it. So you ask me to refi. I already understand right now. I'm putting my understanding on the borrower. So from an accounting standpoint, 98% of the interest payments that I made wasn't actually going to true interest. It's just how you book these these assets on the books that makes it seems like you have an unconditional right to payment, but you really don't have an unconditional right because you owe other people that money. But that is a gem out of this world. But let me just put it all over your heads. So basically 98% is not going towards interest. And then you ask me to refi. I sign a new note. They cancel out the other note. And cancel out the other note, all that means is when they cancel out the other note, all they're doing is saying, okay, how much does he really owe in the books? How many payments have we gotten from him? Okay, we can apply that there. So let's say you've been paying on your home for 10, 15 years. All that extra money, where do you think it goes? You think they're giving you a check for the difference? Many borrowers don't even know it exists. How you gonna ask for something you don't even know exists? How can you fight and argue and dispute for something that you don't even know exists? Even a down payment. You know what they call that? A haircut. Why do you have to bring money to close? It's because they made it sound mandatory. They made it sound mandatory, didn't they? They told you needed this to close. I bet you they told you that too. I bet you that was the tone, right? The tone had a mandatory like tone. I bet you they didn't tell you that the down payment is only the cost and fees for them getting the financing. Them, what they owe for the financing.
See, one of the biggest problems with these space, we keep trying to insert ourselves in certain parts of the transactions that we don't belong. Now, we really be trying to insert ourselves in parts of the transaction where we don't belong. The closing fees that they call it to you, closing fees, is nothing more than the loan commitment fees that they owe. This is why they do a haircut. That's why they do a haircut off your loan proceeds. They're putting it right in your face. They're putting it right in your face. Want to know why it's right in your face? Look at the amount loaned and versus look at the amount financed. I guarantee it's going to be two different numbers. The amount financed is never going to be for the amounts that you was approved for. I read these things. I read hundreds of mortgages, hundreds and hundreds and hundreds and hundreds. I read these people balance sheets. I read their accounting. I read their books. I read their financial statements. I read their call reports. I know what the hell I'm talking about. I've seen it over and over and over and over. The amounts financed, that's the haircut. So in actuality, they were supposed to ask you if you wanted to assume it. The lender is responsible for these fees unless the borrower agrees to assume it. This is how diabolical they are. They don't even present it to you as if you have an option. They present it to you as it's mandatory. What's their justification? Everybody does it. This is how it works. We all do it. It's practice. It's the standard. That's all going to be the answer. That's going to be the answer. They plug it right into your financing. So basically what they say is, man, we owe about 20,000. Shit, why we going to pay it? We're going to make them pay it. Here, bring us to closing. That's what you do. Here, bring us to closing. Man, you bring 20,000 to closing. There we go. All right, that'll cover that. Shoot. Thank God they don't understand what's going on. And guess what you're going to do? You're going to bring that 20,000 to closing. You're going to bring it right to closing. See, these are the Supreme Elite team. How many times I got to tell y'all? This system is about understanding the little things. The little things. These are the little things, the little small things. But they have so much significance. They have so much significance, but they're very subtle. See, this system isn't about finding the Big Bang Theory. It's about understanding a little piece here, a little piece there, 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 a little piece there. Until you get all those pieces and then you see the big picture. Hell, even in a mortgage foreclosure, they don't even care that you didn't pay. They don't even care. The only reason why the foreclosure is taking place is because what caused the 2008 recession was that they were putting defective and deteriorating assets into the pools, and they were issuing securities to the investors on assets that were already deteriorated, assets that were already in non-accrual status, assets that were already impaired. And since back then, they had the right to only classify it as non-accrual, impaired, deteriorate at the fact that when they wasn't receiving the payments for a certain amount of time, it was a time frame. So banks were smart and finance companies were smart. They'll take advantage of that window. So yeah, they will be transferring a security a contract, the back of security issued in a pool when they know they went 45 days without seeing a payment. See, now today, they don't have that window. The window is shorter. See, this is the regulatory and the international regulatories over accounting. See, I'm talking from the United States and the international. They changed that loophole. The international they got their own little version, but the United States got their own little version. So now today, if the underlying contract or the asset is not performing, see, this is on the investor side now. When the underlying asset's not performing, then the security that's issued back by the asset has to reflect the economic reality. So now they have to reflect it as non-performing. Instead of doing that, they go and take it out, cash the investors out, foreclose on you. If we can keep the money, win the judgment, we're going to pocket that, but they've already been taken care of. Not to mention, the amounts that they said you owe from the beginning is never the amounts that they know you owe, and they can't even prove the amounts from which they booked the difference between the amounts that they initially measure them as versus what the contract says. See, they can't prove that from a legal standpoint in court. They're not going to be able to prove it. Everybody out here, if you're looking at your total contracts, the amounts that you owe, your total on your books, if you're looking at them, I'm going to tell you straight up. You're going to know soon. You're going to learn soon. I got a crystal ball. Some of you are going to learn this soon. Whatever it says on the contract, total of payments, don't even worry about it. It's never what you really owe. Want to know why? Because the accounting system that's set up, it doesn't even allow for that. It's impossible. Nobody will make money. So when they use the word discount, I see people online using the word discount. They won't be able to break it down what discount means. They have no clue what it really means. Class 5 of the SETU, we actually went over that. We actually went over the mathematic formulas that they use to determine the actual amount that you owe. How much do you owe in your contract on the books? You got a 30-year mortgage, you got a 7-year auto. What you owe is never from the 30-year standpoint. Do you think they're really going to account for your mortgage loan 30 years out? How much is this 30-year contract worth in a year? Bro, what you owe? What? 700, 800,000 you got to pay back. About 2, 3, 4, what you really owe? Where's the extra 500,000? Where's that going to? Them. It's their spread. It's how they make money. It's their cut. Told you they ain't nothing but glorified middleman. You ain't want to believe me. You're going to spend 20 years of your 30-year mortgage, 20 years of your life just paying administrative fees and interest and fees and fees and fees and fees, things that they use to keep their engine running. That's what you're paying back in the mortgage. You're not really ever going to touch the principal. You don't touch that principal. Woo! By the time it gets to a principal only, you done put about 20 years on the job. And that's how they trick you, because they know you got to keep this house. You don't want to be homeless, so it keeps you stuck on the job. That's why mortgages were introduced, because it's going to bring more people. It was going to bring way more people into the workforce. And this is how companies can grow, because they know, oh, people got mortgages. And it's not so much of losing the house itself. It's not really the issue. It's the psychological effect that it has on people before it actually happens. because we get attached to things. Imagine you walking into your house for 15 years straight. You get kind of used to that setup. You know, your kitchen's at, yeah, birthday's there. Nobody wants to lose their home. You're growing emotionally attached to that property. But by the time you realize that you've already paid that home over 2 or 3 times over. But we look at the contract. We get so focused on the contract. The contract is a smokescreen to the economic reality of what's going on. You know, I tell them to take that contract and do it and wipe your ass with it. Because the contract is never telling the truth. Let me ask you a question. If your contract is saying one thing and that they booking on the contract is saying another, why don't they send you an updated balance during your contract? Why don't they send you an updated, whether it's a credit card or auto, why don't they send you an updated balance due? Why don't they send you an updated balance due? Huh? Yes, sir. CPG 7804. And I don't go all this extra. I deal with everyday real life reality. This is why a lot of people, you know, they want a minute, they can relate to what I say. It's everyday. I deal in everyday real life. I don't go in these, you about to get 250 million back from them. No, I don't deal with that. I deal with everyday reality, that reality that everyday people face, the realities, every day in real life. It's not the fact that people can't afford the things that they pay. It's the fact that nobody wants to pay any more than what they already expect them to pay. If my contract says 43,000, but on your books, I know you only count for is 12,000. Why I gotta pay 43,000? Why can I only pay the 12,000 what you booked it as? Why do I gotta pay 43? Explain that from a legal standpoint. Why I gotta pay 43,000 when you yourself only expect me to pay 12? Huh? Explain it to me. Explain that to me. So maybe I'm missing something. Maybe explain it to me. Help me understand that. Help me understand that, because I don't understand it. So you mean to tell me you done booked about $160,800 roughly on an $800,000 mortgage on your books, and you want me to pay you $600,000 more in money that you can't even legally justify? What do you think I am? What do they think? Who do they think we are? Do they think that low of us? But guess what? Look how many years and decades they've been doing it right under our nose. Don't even know it's taking place because they got us that contract law. They got us. And what's another smoke screen? The deed of trust. You know, the deed of trust is not your home is never the collateral for a mortgage. That's another misconception. You know, the more I spoke to professionals, the more I realized the difference in the separations from what people believe in their theories online to like, nah, this is how we actually operate. Yo, the separation, bro, you can travel. It's like the whole distance of the Atlantic Ocean. The reality of what they do every day versus what people saying this is how it goes. It is like two different worlds. No, for real. The amount of people who is saying how the system goes today versus speaking to people that actually deal in that system every day, you wouldn't believe the distance. It is like it has nothing to do with how they operate every day. Your deed of trust, your home, the property itself, it's never collateral. Your deed of trust, it's only secured so it can be collateral for the trust. It's a security interest in the home. They put a security interest in the home, and that's to have some type of incentive for you to pay. But when it comes down to your monthly payments, your so-called lender, they don't even have a legal right to collect all the amounts that they saying you owe. See, accounting works very funny and it's very tricky. That's why when I hear these people talk accounting online, I know they have no clue what's really going on. I know they have no clue. And I don't say that to be big-headed or boastful. Like when you actually seen it, done it, and spoke to the top professionals who confirm it and actually read it from the top professional accounting people in the world, and then you hear them say something different and they're adamant that I'm wrong and they're right. I'm like, where are we? What are we doing here? We in a twilight zone? Oh, they just want to be right online. They just want to be right online. They don't want anybody to come along that even tells them they're remotely wrong because they feel in their mind they're going to lose. See, I don't have to go back and forth with a person about who's right or wrong. I don't have to do it. Want to know why I really don't have to do it? Now, I may engage for the entertainment purpose. Want to know why I really don't have to do it? Because any question that I have, I know I can pick up the phone and talk to someone who works. Bam, right there. And just because I have that access, many people don't like that fact. So they'll even try to discredit the professional. You notice how even when the judge says people are wrong, they'll say the judge is wrong. You know, people that's using Kirk's method, Kirk's process, Kirk's discharge, Kirk. Do you not know that the stuff that Kirk's talking about, bro, they was already trying it 25, 30 years ago before he even came about? You think that's really Kirk's method? Kirk's process? You might as well go get the redemption manual. There's nothing new that he's talking about. Everything he talks about, it's already been done before. Christina Wilson, the money changers. It's all the same. He says, so the interest, the value calculation generated is the contract in real terms. Did I catch that right? So the interest valuation calculation generated is the contract in real terms. Did I catch that right? The interest represents a portion. So a portion of your finance charge, a portion of what they're saying is interest. So prime example, $622 a month. $433 is being put towards the interest. The rest is being towards the principal. The reason why they call it interest, because interest is indicative of a receivable. A receivable represents the unrestricted right to payment. They're already creating a miscalculation because they don't have an unrestricted right to payment because investors owe that money to investors. So they will book it under the right term that reflects that they owe the investors first. Then that means they would have to satisfy the investor payments out of their own pockets. And then whatever's remaining, they could legally come after us. The problem why they wouldn't come after us is because it's the investors that put the payments up. But there's no contractual obligation or agreement between us and the investors. This is why the finance companies and the banks come in as a glorified middleman. So they're basically going to say they would have no way to collect if they didn't book it that way. They have to book it as a receivable because they wouldn't have a way to collect. Because your finance company or your mortgage lender wouldn't be able to collect legally. And they wouldn't be able to more enforce the debt. So they try to mitigate that by having servicing agreements with these companies, which allows them to service the loan, collect the debt on their behalf, which is they can do. But you got the service companies still trying to foreclose. And they don't do anything spectacular. So when they're signing the note into the trust, they're going to endorse it on the back. This is why you always see an endorsement going out. You always see when they file a complaint, the note on the bottom is going to be paid to the order of blank, signed by whoever's endorsing it. That's an endorsement out to the trust. So when they foreclose, on the trust is doing, hey, yo, let's get that note back. Right. Oh, there you go. All right. File that. That's an endorsement out, not an endorsement in. Who are you playing with? That's an endorsement out. It's not even a blank endorsement. That's an endorsement out. So the endorsement is out. So you're attaching the same note that shows that you sent it that way. And then there's no intervening endorsements. So they just gave it back to you to go foreclose on. That's all you got? This your evidence right here? Okay, come on, run it. All right, that's all I say. Okay, come on, run it. So all I say, that's all you got? You sure? Now I literally similar like, you sure you want to do this? You do know that. You sure? All right, come on, let's run it. Let's run it. Let's shoot the fade. Let's run that fade. Run the fade. Run the fade. You want to run the fade that way? Run the fade. I'm not about to say, oh, that's just wrong. Come on, come with it. Come with it. Just come with it. But no, the problem that they have, a problem that a lot of people are experiencing. So back to your interest. No, the interest out of that 433, the interest probably gonna be like $80, $90. Your interest is very minimal. The interest parts that they're calling interest is nothing more than fees. It's nothing but fees and interest, not interest, but fees, placement fees, program fees, their own warehouse lending fees. It's never the interest that you're saying, but they book it in a manner that they have unconditional right to payment. If they were actually, and this is why I said if in the opening intro, we know how from the regulatory standpoint, how they're supposed to do it. And then we look at how they do it. And then in between, we understand why they're not doing it this way. And that's the exposures. Oh, you're not booking it to reflect what's really going on. Because if you did, you wouldn't have an unconditional right to payment. And that would blow your whole system apart. So you have to book it as a receivable. It's reflecting an unconditional right to payment. But in reality, you don't have an unconditional right to payment. Hell, you even know that. Your mortgage lenders, your auto finance companies, all they're doing is retaining a servicing fee at best. There's nothing from a balance sheet standpoint, from an accounting standpoint, hell, from an economic substance standpoint, there's nothing going on that shows that they have an unrestricted right to payment because they lent you money. Nothing. Remember, it all goes down on the books. All this extra stuff that people doing, sending all these documents to them, they don't give a damn. They know you don't know their books. They know you don't know their books. Remember, this is what they do. They use trust law to siphon our property from us. They use accounting and internal accounting and mischaracterizations of the items that they're booking on their balance sheets to hide what's really going on from us. And then they use contract law to stick you with the debt. That's all it is. So it's a one-trick pony. They do it. It's all the same. No matter what situation, all the same. So in a credit card case, the interest that you're paying, You know, at 35.9%. See, it's different in credit cards. See, in credit cards, they're actually using your extra payments to go purchase more receivables to add to the pool. Yeah. So your money's not going to pay back your credit card balance. They're going to give you credit for it, but it's actually going for them to purchase more. That's what that's what they really do with that. They take your money because they call it interest. It's not really interest. See, that's the difference. And this is why I say TILA's a sham, because TILA don't answer these questions that we're going to have when we bring this shit in court. TILA not going to answer. TILA, oh, it just has to be disclosed. You got to make it visible. TILA, why are you allowing them to disclose numbers that from a balance sheet standpoint, you know is inaccurate? Why are you allowing them to do that? This is why I tell people, if you don't understand the four lens of the contract, consumer finance, regulatory, investor, and the court lens, you're going to look at your consumer lens, just one little circle right here. You're not even going to get the full picture of what's really going on. Many people are arguing things that kind of validates the sham. I mean, I'm not saying that they do it on purpose. Someone said proof. Anyone that's saying proof, you must be new. Now, if you're saying proof, you're new. If you are saying proof, yeah, you're new. I'll just say this. In my own settlement, I played a big part. I played a big part in my own settlement. I'll just say this. I played a big part in my own settlement. I was the reason why I went smoothly, not because of them. I was the reason. If I wanted to push the issue, they knew they had them. I was the reason. I'll tell you that. I was on the phone with their attorney. Yeah. I was on the phone with their attorney. I was on the phone with their attorney. See the difference between me and what's his name? Hambone Mike, whatever your name is. See, the difference between me and you is I don't automatically disregard something just because it's over my head, it's over my comprehension level, it's over my understanding. You know, I don't automatically disregard things just because it's not what I believe, or I know I don't have the ability to do what another person's talking about right now. Because a lot of people feel intimidated. A lot of people feel intimidated. They feel insecure. But like, we know you won't be on the phone with a professional lawyer on the other side after the situation is over. We know you'll never have no evidence of that. But I implore you to stick around and pay attention, Mr. Pure Fantasy. Appreciate you. See, I had to take time out to, but I get it. This space is filled with 98% of theories. Hey, I'm going to take your word, Humble Mike. Pure fantasy. I agree. Not this channel.
You're rocking with the best.
Not this channel. Mr. Fantasy in all caps. I know. See, people have been so punch drunk by what they hear online. And if they would have took my advice and say, yo, 98% of what you hear online, they already tried 25, 30 years ago, they probably went down a rabbit hole. They probably wouldn't have went down those rabbit holes. But people, the belief is more stronger than the reality, the facts. The belief is more stronger than the facts. Hey, I'm not here to change nobody's belief system. I offer services that you can actually get excited about. That you can actually get excited about. That you can actually get motivated by. And I even went an extra step. I jumped out there and said, you know what? I'm going to lead the way. I'm going to lead the way. Now, for my group, I'm going to lead the way. I'm going to, everything that we talk about in this group, everything that we talk about, everything that we go over, I am going to be a living example and a representation of that. I'm going to be a living representation and example of that. I mean, normally you got these gurus holding classes and they haven't even done the shit themselves. That's every day. At least with me, what I teach is effective. It hits to the core. It disrupts their systems and it leads to getting the assets back free and clear. You ain't even got to do no fake trust process. They're going to mail the title back to you. That's all I do. Well, have you done it? Yes. The answer is yes. There's nothing that's being taught in SETU that's I did not implement fully. I did not break down the stairs. Nothing. And another, I keep forgetting this part. Another thing that y'all got to understand is that people may not still believe me, and that's cool. But another thing that people don't get that I think, I don't know if they fully understand, or kind of like on a little skeptical, like I really real live have like top level professionals like on my, like I real live. And they've been a major help because the professionals, especially the ex-SEC attorney that was brought to me by T-Dot, it was him that actually kind of pulled back the curtain for me. Shit that millions of people would never know what's going on. He pulled back the curtain. Like he literally pulled back the curtain. I'm not lying. He pulled back the curtain. And this is why it allowed me to be like, connect those dots. And I'm not saying that like you need that to be successful, but I will say this. There are just certain things about this system that like you kind of gotta know someone on the other side in order to be successful. 1 second, y'all, because I gotta use the restroom. Give me 1 second. 1 second.
They studying the source now. Supreme Elite. New Empire talk. Came on reading numbers. They were reading memes. He was reading the last check. Thomas took notes, broke codes, then he proved it. Now the classroom global and the language fluid. Thomas is the blueprint. Write that in the sky, let the crew print. From the courtroom smoke to the new man. He designed the way we move our 2 cents. Thomas is a blueprint. Supreme Elite team, that's the school stamp. From the first lay build to the full camp. New culture empire, watch the flag plan. Supreme Elite team, university.
Yeah. SETU. Get in there, take advantage. Take advantage of SETU, y'all. Take advantage. We got the Mother's Day special going on until May 8th. Y'all be wanting to go live even more. I need to get off these vapes, but I know TikTok, they don't be liking that stuff on camera. So that's kind of the reason why I be on the little voice chat most of the times. But with Supreme Elite Team University, there's nothing that's being, I mean, it's literally all from a profession. I don't even teach from what I believe is done. I don't even teach from my theory, what I believe. I teach all from straight professionals breaking down the accounting. So when they book your nominal balance on the book, it's booked at the contract minus the discount. So they're deducting a big chunk of your contract balance on the books. And that is what goes to what they call the finance charge, reserve fee, this, allowance for credit loss here. Hell, when they first book your contract, they're already expected to take a loss. So they're already knocking a chunk off. They already expect to take a loss, whether it's quarter by quarter or yearly. Each company got their own way. Some do quarter by quarter, some do about a 12-month span. That alone is a forgiveness of the debt. They're already expecting not to reflect it. Why didn't they send you an update of that? Why aren't they sending you an update? When they do all these adjustments on the books after you first sign the contract, why aren't they sending you a new updated balance? You see, you're never going to know. They're never going to talk about it. Remember, they use contract law to stick you with the debt. They're going to use those numbers on the contract, knowing damn well the numbers on the books are significantly less. Hell, even in a foreclosure, when they foreclose, when there's a time limit when they don't expect. When you're not making your payments, you're in default. Your account on the books is sitting in non-accrual status. It's sitting in non-accrual status, but guess what? They still charge you interest on your account online. I bet you they charge you interest, past due plus interest, right? Guess what? That interest is not. This is what I'm saying. It's not going towards nothing. It's extra. It's extra. It's extra. It is extra. Hell, when you was like with credit acceptance, if you pay online, when you do your payments online, they got the little $3.75 processing fee. Do you know how many millions of people? I think it's $3.75. I ain't checked it in a minute. Do you know how many millions of people will add $3.75 more to their payments? Do you know what I was doing? I was giving them the straight amount. Do you realize they were still taking it? I wasn't adding the $3.75. I was doing the straight bam amount. And it went through every time. See? Little shit like that. That $3.75, normally people psychologically see the $3.75 like, oh, let me add $3.75. Because they make you do it like you gotta have the $3.75, but they're not going to take none of your payment at all. See, that's the psychological thing, war play that you do it. Many people lose because, and I'm going to say this as respectfully as I can, nobody take offense. Many people, although they've been in these spaces for a while, although they've taken a new path, the reality is the indoctrination that this system, through propaganda, through school, through education, growing up, it has a stranglehold on millions of people. A lot of people think that they're already free from it, but they're still under the propaganda and the psychological control of what's been embedded for decades in our psyche and our perception reality. I know you've been walking this new path for 2 months and 2 years, but 2 years does not erase 25, 30 years of programming that they've done on us. It doesn't erase it. I know we want to think it does. It doesn't erase it. It doesn't erase it. And this is why I tell my group members, you got to chip away. You see like an ice block? You got to chip away at it. Catch a gem here. All right, let me put that gem there. Chip away. Oh, another gem. All right. Then you start studying in and out of those gems. Once you understand those, okay, I understand those. All right, I'm ready for the next one. Everybody tries to learn it all one time. It's like they're trying to force themselves to adapt a mentality and a reality that they don't have. Shout out to all those who've been tapping the screen. Shout out to all the gifts that you've been doing this. Shout out to everybody that's been tapping in. But I will say this. I will say this part though. If you are attacking them, and let me put that aside. SETU, we're not attacking them from a consumer corporate level. Consumer finance level. We are attacking them from a highly advanced corporate level. Want to know why? Because up there, you understand exactly what they're doing. See, it's hard for any finance company, mortgage company to ever deny what is called industry practice. Meaning, this is just normal business to them. It's always going on. This is why the core elements of what I teach is going to be present in a credit card case. It's going to be present in a mortgage case. It's going to be present in an auto case. When we run their books and run their balance sheets and get the industry levels, get the industry numbers, it's Wells Fargo, JP Morgan, Chase, Stanley Chase, Credit Acceptance, Bank of America, US Bank, Santander, Westlake, all of them, they all do the same thing. CarMax, dealers with floor plans, they all do it because the accounting that I know and they teach, this ain't nothing, it ain't got just limited to consumer financing. It's business transactions, it's insurance transactions. It's the corporate financing system. A lot of people think that I'm teaching how to go after just one of the, no, this is just how their system works. And the only thing we get is the facts and the elements of a particular case. But this is just how it's one of the things where it is what it is. So when people say, oh, that's pure faith, that's not true, that lets me know they don't understand the system from up there. Because what I'm talking about, it happens normal every day. It's every day. Normal every day. Every day. It goes every day. No different. Apple. Home Depot. Home Goods. Giant. Yums. That who's on KFC, Taco Bell, Popeyes. All of them. All of them. Over 132 countries participate in this securitization. All of them. What you can't do is say, I don't owe because of securitization, or I don't owe because of the accounting. That's making illegal conclusions. Courts hate legal conclusions. And what makes it even more complex in this group so beautiful, that we take the most highly complex claims, the highly class action securities like claims, and apply to a consumer transaction. Meaning, I got case law to back up everything I'm saying. Everything I'm saying, I can prove in court. Everything I'm saying, I've already proven in court. There's nothing I'm saying that I can't prove black and white on the books. Oh, shit. this. There's nothing that I'm saying. For many people, what do you have to lose? That's the question. What do you really have to lose? Do we need to run it down? You tried the W-4 sandwich. You submitted that 1099-A, thought that bill was going to be discharged. You done played around with the OID. You done played around with the 1099-B. A lot of y'all checks got reversed, and y'all ain't never sent the money back. So now you sitting with a heavy balance due in your account. We all know that. You tried Kirk's method. You tried Christina Wilson's money changer who came from Patrick Devine. A lot of y'all tried Robots and Patriots. You done tried changing your name, adopting a new native tongue, putting hyphens and names to the back of your name, sent your status correction in, not knowing that they could give two rats asses about your status correction because you are considered a United States citizen if you were born and naturalized in the United States. You got Social Security number, birth certificate. To them, you're a United States citizen. It's not about what you call yourself. It's about how you're treated. It's about what you recognize. You know how many people call themselves, oh, I got an LLC. You ain't nothing but a disregarded entity to the IRS. You know what that means? Your business income is going on your Schedule C with your 1040. That means any liabilities of the business, you paying the taxes on it. But you got your LLC, though. It's not what you call yourself, it's how you're treated. You done tried the trust stuff. Look how many people that tried the trust, put the title on the trust, but you still scared to leave your vehicle in the parking lot going shopping. How many of y'all got to have somebody ride with you when you go many places and they get in the driver's seat while you still in the store? You done tried the negotiable instruments. Counts got reversed. You done tried the remittance coupon, the bill pay. It got reversed later. One of the problem with they didn't tell you was they don't net the books right when you send the payments in. They net them every quarter. This is why it may look like it's stuck there. Then like a couple months later, it got reversed. See, if you knew how to count and go, you realize, oh shit, that's why they're getting away, because there's a little window right there. So all the people, I can use this to show success, but when theirs get reversed, I can filter them out the group. I'll have them all blocked by now. So the only new people only see the new success. Y'all, 98% of what you see online is scams. That's all it is. Just like the person that's saying that they was discharging auto loans with an international promissory note, even though the international promissory note is widely associated with sovereign citizen movements, has no legal validity in the United States, but she wanted me to believe that it worked for her. When all the people that tried it before she even knew what it was didn't work. And let's just say it worked for her. Knowing that that instrument is fraudulent, I would still never advocate for people to do it, because I know many people are going to be looking for the same results and it's not coming. Hell, many people are looking for getting out of their debts, but they don't even like getting stressed out trying to get out of their debts without even understanding, well, what if I never even owed this amount anyway? See, isn't that a better way? Don't you feel a little more confident? Like, hold on, what if I didn't really owe this amount anyway, based on what you say I owe, based on how you account for things on your books? See, that changes the whole conversation. See, that it doesn't that sound like a legal argument, like something that anybody can recognize? Why are you paying more than what you even say I owe? That's not right. That's the heart of equity. What they call it, unjust enrichment. Double recovery. Wouldn't that be better than sending some verbiage in that you don't even understand, you just paid for it? And you just send it in, don't know how to defend it. They ignore it, want to come accelerate the loan. Now look at you. See, with me, nobody gets their vehicles repossessed or their house foreclosed on based on the process you're doing. No. I don't even offer templates. I don't offer Want to know why I can't offer templates? Because everybody's situation is going to be structured for their own situation. So Tommy's situation is not going to look like Mary's. Jimmy's situation is not going to look like Stephanie's. Everybody's going to be structured for their own situation. It's impossible for me to do it. I don't know how to do it any other way. If y'all know a quicker way, let me know and I'll implement it. I'll check it out, see if it checks out. I'll implement it. I don't know how to do that shit any other way. Just like you can have a title back in your trust name, but if you ain't never satisfied the underlying obligation, you having a title in your name does not extinguish the creditor's security interest and their underlying lien on the property unless you satisfy the underlying debt. See, they think a title stops the debt. The title does not stop a debt because contract law, you did not satisfy the balance. So yes, the lender can still come to court and sue you, be like, yo, you never satisfied this balance. You play games with the DMV. Judge is going to remove it, lift it, and now once they get that judgment, now they get that title back in their name, you know they're coming to snatch the vehicle. You playing around with the title. And this is why many people that do those title processes, they are hiding their vehicles. They are hiding those vehicles. Say I'm lying.
You're rocking with the best.
They're hiding their vehicles. But look at the mindset. Oh, I only paid the first month. I only paid the down payment. They couldn't get another payment from me. Ugh. Well, I know I'll never do business with you. I know I'll never do business with you. You looking like that's a flex. Now, you don't want to pay shit back. Oh, I never do business with you. Like that's a win. Because doing things the legal and right way, many people don't know how to do it. They don't know. It was never part of these spaces. Like you got a title and you know damn well you ain't never satisfied the underlying balance, or it was waived in a legal setting, part of a settlement, something recognized legally. You know damn well you looking over, you be in the car like, hey yo, bro, get in the passenger seat right quick, get in the driver's seat right quick, man, head to the store. Hey man, come around to the store with me. Chill, come on. Go ahead. You park in the front, you in line, you looking out the window. Get back home. Whew, I made it through another day. Yeah, y'all, I got my title. Yeah, this is how you got to get your title. And yeah, you got to do it like us. Get your title together. Get your titles together. Yeah. Go back outside. Running back to the truck. Anybody they didn't come get it. That's their life now. That's their life now. All you title people. I want to hear shit. I want to hear shit. Don't come in my channel on my live talking about a title if you can prove that the underlying balance have been legally satisfied. Because if the underlying balance has not been legally satisfied, that title means this. Hey, motherfucker, hard as a brick. But you get my point. Title means nothing. See, with us, when we get titles back in our name, it's either through a judgment or through a settlement, and the finance company takes care of it, and then they have it mailed to you with no liens on it. See, I don't know any other way of getting a title back but that way. I don't, if y'all got some little secret sidewinder stuff, y'all can do it that way. But my way, you ain't got to look over your shoulder. See, you own that truck or that vehicle or that car or that house outright. Nobody's coming to take it. Now, it may not extinguish the property taxes. May gotta deal with that, but I don't deal with state property taxes. That ain't my realm. Find somebody else. I don't deal with it. But this is what SETU brings. If you have not joined SETU, you need to join SETU. Supreme Elite Team University is revolutionizing how consumer lawsuits are being raised. People have more confidence stepping into the courtroom. You're having a better understanding. And it's not a hard concept to grasp. But sum it all up. You say that I owe this. Your accounting in your books says that I owe this. Why are you making me pay more on a contract in which you can't legally justify? Why did the contract say this amount due, but you're saying this is the amount due? Which one should we go by? What the contract says or what you already economically recognize? Why can't I pay the same amounts that you say how? Why we got to stick by this contract? Because you never updated the contract. As a matter of fact, it looks like you're trying to double up on me. As a matter of fact, this is exactly what you're doing. Hey, Your Honor, let me explain why they're doubling up. It's not real. And that gets into enforcement. I mean, we have talked about that. That's group info, though. Yeah. Yeah, that's group. The details and the economics, that's group info. That's group info. That's behind the scenes. Do you know, bro, some things, and it's so sad because I be seeing these little 23, 24, 25-year-olds jump on the guru train and teacher train. And they see there's money to be made off it. Because to be honest with you, ladies and gentlemen, what's really going on is they're just selling what you believe back to you. It doesn't matter if it's legit or not. If you believe in it, somebody's going to sell it to you. You know that trust law and banking law? You notice when you got those little trust law lives where people have those little ancient, look like some Indian, some ancient Africa shit, and trust law and banking law, sovereign citizen. Everybody understand banking law. You know what's that? Trust law and banking law. When you see those little African tribes and their background on their screen, and you know, you got all the little stupid ass books, learn your trust law, private trust law, banking law today. And they say they're Indian and they, you know, Tatanka and all that. I'm still calling them Tatanka. You go over there, Tatanka channel and all that extra shit, bro. It's another variation of the sovereign citizen, indigenous to the land movement. It's nothing. Do you think those people are talking about corporate banking, corporate financing? No. So when you go over to Tatanka and them's channel, that's all you're getting. Fucking with Tatanka and them. That's all you're getting. That's all. You go over there fucking with Tatanka. That's all you're getting. Onto some land. We all, the land is ours. You ever heard of some garbage? We in Morocco. The United States is really Morocco. I've never known so many people who just looks for an identity to cling to from a damn book. Getting your identity from a book. Now, I'm not saying reading is not fundamental. Trust me. But God damn it. We're really in Morocco? Are we really in Morocco? The treaty of friendship and peace, like 1790, whatever it is, how would that apply to American laws today? Are you mean to tell me that we're Moors? Is that what you're trying to tell me? Well, I have a friend from Morocco. I went to high school with him. He was born in Morocco. His parents are from Morocco. The only ones not from Morocco is two little sisters because they were born in America. They're American. I mean, they're all American citizens, but they're American. I asked him a question. Do y'all call yourselves Moors? They said they never heard of the term. They never heard of the term. They don't call themselves Moor. I don't know. He said, for me, a debt is a transmitting utility. Thing was recognized. Ain't that? I'm just nah, that is not a transmitting utility. A transmitting utilities did them like with public water companies, like your electrical, you provide electricity to people. You provide water, like that's what a transmitting utility is. As a matter of fact, you cannot file a UCC1 on yourself. You can't put yourself in all caps to put yourself in upper and lowercase. They're still looking at you as yourself. A UCC1 is kind of found with corporations through corporations. I know we think our all caps is a corporation, but all caps is not a corporation. I know you think just because it's in all caps, it's a corporation. That's not how it's recognized. See, what we believe and what we think is two different things on how it's recognized and how it's processed. And just because your birth certificate has that Secretary of State little document to it, you know what it's really saying? See, they think you're going to get your birth certificate authenticated to validate the identity of who you are. See, that's what they think. You're going in there thinking that the full faith and credit is going to entitle you to some type of money, some type of estate. See, that's just another step, and I call the never-ending process, or the thousand step process. You notice what you always got to do 5,000 different things. You done spent about $500 last month in sending certified mail receipts. And you always got to go back and do something. I forgot this document. Think about it. You got to get the authenticated. Then you got to get this. You got to put the birth certificate at a 45-degree angle. Then you got to get this document. You got to get the medallion stamp. You got to get the embosser. Now you got to wait in the mail for that. You got to wait 2 weeks for the embosser now. God damn it. Then once you get that, you got to stamp it. Then you got to put this document together. You got to put the trust together. Then you got to go do this. Then you got to go to do that. Then you got to send it to the Treasury. Then you got to send it to the IRS. Then you got to send it to the FBI. Then you got to send it to the... Get the fuck out of here. With us, we ain't doing none of that. All you got to do is understand the game, learn how the books go, make our claim, just keep it pushing. Told you. As soon as credit acceptance made an appearance, settlement started talking. They made an appearance January 25th, 23rd, 24th, something like that. The stipulation agreement to the settlement was like January 26th. Filed with the court the same day. 2 days later, stipulation of dismissal granted by the court. Bam, 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 bam. A week, within 5 days after that, title was in the mail. You notice I ain't had to go to the Treasury. I ain't got to send no instrument. I ain't got to send no bond and promissory note. Hey, yo, with the bond and promissory notes, for the love of Christ, yo, they was doing that like 98. The bond and promissory notes is like 98. But they was trying that in 98. You do know that when you're issuing your own securities, bond and promissory notes, you do realize you got to have collateral coming in that's generating cash flow. You can't give an estate or a social security. Okay, let's say it's backed by an estate. You do realize that that estate has to be having cash flow come in, and it's the cash flow from whatever the business dealings of the estate that's backing the promissory note. You do know that the promissory note has to be paid. I hope you're not thinking you just send a bond and promissory note and it's going to be discharged or charged off because of a social security account. See, this is why these ancient Tatanka sovereign citizen banking law, they don't understand how you know what they understand the banking law is? Title 12 USC section 412 and Proclamation 2039. That's it. Oh shit. Oh shit. And if you don't play along, they're gonna Title 18 you, threaten you to death. They're gonna Title 18 you to death. Then they're gonna slap a fee schedule on you that they don't know how to get cashed. Like, any promissory note you issue has to be backed by cash flow, has to be backed by receivables. So if you were issuing a 30-year note, or what is that, 5-year bonded promissory, whatever stuff they issue, number one, you're going to get it at a discount rate. So you're going to get less money up front. And then when it's time to pay it back, you're responsible for paying it back. Y'all think that the government's just going to find a way to discharge the debt from the account. How does that look in a regular corporate finance accounting model? How does that discharge look? Because in order for one account to be satisfied, credited, another account to be debited. Social Security number is not an account. It's not a bank account. It's not my there. Tell me right now where you can go to any financial institution and draw money just by presenting a Social Security card. And this is the problem I mean. They know that their everyday life, if the banks are not going to accept it, what makes you think the Treasury is going to accept it? Everybody got caught up on that IRS regulation with the bill of exchange. Mail it here, send it here. You know what that is? But you know how to say you send it to the Treasury? You think they send it to the Treasury to be processed. Actually, they're sending it to the CID division. They send it to them peoples. Unless it can be processed right there on the IRS's accounting. People think, oh, bill of exchange, send it to the Treasury. Oh, look at it says, send it here. Oh, send a promissory note to the IRS. IRS doesn't even accept promissory notes. It's not an acceptable form of payment. Because a promissory note is, you can't liquidate a promissory note there. A promissory note is paid back in time. And you have to have liquid cash flows that's paying the promissory note back. You know damn well whoever submitted that bond a promissory note ain't got no goddamn liquid cash because they just looking for free money out the air from the government. You know damn well they ain't got no liquid cash. Do you know what I find even more amazing? If all these Tatanka tribal people and these Moors and these patriots, and I'm indigenous, you know if $10 million hit their account, they will abandon these processes tomorrow. Because remember I told you, this space is for people to come when they don't want to be financially accountable, when they want to get out of debt without bearing the scars that comes with not paying your debt, and extract money out the government in the system, some shape, form, or fashion. If people told you that you're going to have to study for the next 3 to 4 years, then after you study, you have to slow roll your claims, then you'll eventually get your relief once your experience goes. Do you know that if 98% of people actually knew what it took to be successful, consistent in this space, they wouldn't be here right now? And this is why people have patience. It's like they got ants in their pants. Can you imagine people knowing that they got to sit down for like another year, 2, at least 3 years, vigorous study and research, don't send no document in? What? I got to send no document in that I don't understand? I can't do that? Bro, they would go into an uproar. This is why the success rate is still so low. Look at the success rate. How many people are successful obtaining titles back out there to securitization trust on a daily basis? How successful is it? It's getting so bad that you even got to start questioning people's success, because what they call success is nothing but they use the little loophole that worked for them that I wouldn't even advise the next person to do, because there's no legal basis of what they're doing. A few people do slip through the cracks every now and then. People do slip through the cracks. We got to stop trying. This is why I mean SETU is so valuable, because once you have that understanding, nobody can take it from you. You'll always know what to do. We got to stop trying to look for salvation by putting verbiages and words on an instrument. Throw the instrument stuff in the trash. If you are not writing that instrument on a check on a bank account that you got access to right now with money already sitting in it, you know there's no money in it. This is the disingenuous part. You know there's no real money in there. And then when they come after you for fraud, now you want to act so surprised. You know when you sent that off, there was no real money to back that instrument that you know it. You know it from the jump. You know that's what you're doing. But then you want to act like it's a process. That's what you tell yourself. It's a process. This is how you psychologically make yourself feel good about deep down inside the fraud and scam that you know you're about to commit. All you got to do is tell yourself it's a process. You got to remind yourself that there's an account somewhere based on your social security number. You got to tell yourself that. See, what SETU, you can snap out that mentality and get straight to work on a claims and a way of life that's legally recognized and what they do a part of their everyday system. We are a part of that corporate finance system. Whether you get scared of the term corporate finance or not, you are a part of it, because although they label it as a consumer transaction, you're really engaging in corporate finance. That's what you're engaging in. So since you're engaging in corporate finance, why wouldn't you want to learn the games, learn the rules to the games that you play every time you step into a financing transaction? It's not a consumer transaction. They tell you that it's not a consumer transaction. You're in a corporate finance transaction. But I thought everybody understood securitization. Remember, I understand securitization. I understand securitization. I thought you knew it already. So if you understand securitization, then you will understand that. And I could go on and 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 on. No point. Thomas Legacy 603@gmail.com. You are interested in any service I have to offer, I will give you a client intake checklist. Fill out the checklist or fill out the sheet. Get back to me. SETU is only $14.99 through May 8th. Professionally taught, professional approved. Also, we got coming May 8th, the Patreon. All the behind the scene classes I held in the Supreme Elite Team group, they're going to be on Patreon. All the professional documents, William Mary Business Law, Harvard Law Review, the American Accounting Association. I even got the OCC Employee Manual Handbook. That's going to be dropped in the Patreon too. Got the Discord coming soon for all. And I got the Supreme Elite Team, the Insiders group coming too. The #1 bread and butter right now is the Supreme Elite Team University, which is $14.99 through May 8th. And if I can't guarantee anything else, I guarantee with SETU, you were going to learn things that you didn't even know exist. And when you see it, you'll be like, damn, if I was on this path doing this, I wouldn't have had to go down these holes. I wouldn't have to send that instrument in to try to pay my mortgage. I wouldn't have to been sending that instrument in to pay my auto. I would be asking the right questions. Oh, when they talk about giving you accounting under UCC 9 and they qualify written response, they're talking about an accounting based on a contract. You should be asking accounting based on their finance statements and their balance sheets. See, they don't want to have that conversation. See, most people look for banks and finance companies to validate them, tell them in some roundabout way that they're right. You know what I love for them? I love silence.
You're rocking with the best.
I love silence.
You're rocking with the best.
I love silence. You want to know what silence means? Oh shit, this might become a legal issue, y'all. Let's not say nothing that they're going to use against us. I got you. And you learn how to bring claims while you're current and the plaintiff. You don't always have to be the defendant in default. You won't have to be the defendant in default. You will learn how to get them first while you're current, so they can't say anything about your default status to take away the attention from what the real argument is. I guarantee you, they don't want to have a conversation when you're in that status. They don't want to have a conversation. So, thank you all for coming today. Y'all know what it is. Leave you with the Supreme Elite Team anthem. You too.
They studying the source now. Supreme Elite. New Empire talk. Came on reading numbers. They were reading memes. He was reading filings. Planning out the dream. Turn every late fee in the case law heat. Judge bang gavel. He don't skip a beat. They like how you flip stress in the assets. How you turn a loss in the last check. Thomas took notes, broke codes, then he proved it. Now the classroom global and the language fluid. Thomas is the blueprint. Write that in the sky, let the crew print. From the courtroom smoke to the new man. He designed the way we move our 2 cents. Thomas is the blueprint. Supreme Elite Team, that's the school stamp. From the first lay bill to the full camp. New culture empire, watch the flag plan. Supreme Elite Team University. Turn the credit score into currency. Turn the closed door to a first key. Turn a side job to a legacy. He beat odds, then he beat litigation. Now we teach law like a new translation. From confusion into consultation. From survival into foundation. They log in, lights on in their eyes now. Section this, call that. They reply now. He like, know your rights, then apply now. God, that's the real drip. Let it dry now. Thomas is the blueprint. Write that in the sky, let the crew print. From the courtroom smoke to the new man. He designed the way we move our 2 cents. Thomas is the blueprint. Supreme Elite Team, that's the school stamp. Wave it. From the first lay bill to the full camp. New culture empire, watch the flag plan. From the bench to the block, he reversed that. Put the power in the pen, yeah, he birthed that. Every mind that he frees, that's a verse that. Whole culture on the rise, you can search that. Hey. Thomas is the blueprint. Write that in the sky, let the blueprint. From the courtroom smoke to the new